How's it going, everybody? I want to talk to you guys about something very special today. It's a common problem that I see with a lot of my coaching clients, and a lot of people have been reaching out to me, sending me messages because of some of my latest posts here on Facebook, and they're asking me all kinds of questions about fat loss and building muscle, a lot of questions about diet, and they always ask me, how do I know what to do, right? How do I know what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing? And, there's multiple answers that I give for that. And, the first thing I say is you need to have a basic understanding of diet science, nutrition science, exercise science. You need to know what kind of exercises you should be doing to reach your goals. You need to know how much food you should be eating if you're trying to gain weight or if you're trying to lose weight. You need to have that basic information. You can get that from doing your own research. You can do it from consulting with a professional such as myself. But once you have that, you know what you need to be doing. It doesn't take a lot of information to start. And I think it was Colin Powell who said that when you're trying to make a decision during a battle or during a war, some type of large-scale political decision, you really only need 40% of the information to make a decision and take action. Because if you try to wait until you have 100% of the information, you're going to end up waiting too long and you're going to miss your opportunity. So I always tell people, don't overthink it. Get the basic information. Once you have enough information to start moving in a certain direction, start moving. And from that point on, it's very, very simple. Every time you're faced with a decision, you just have to ask yourself, does doing this, does thinking this, does feeling this move me towards my goal? Whether you're feeling depressed or you're feeling like you have some anxiety or maybe you're getting angry, ask yourself, does feeling this way move me towards my goal? And if the answer is no, you have to drop it. If you can somehow convince yourself that the answer is yes for something negative, you're going to find that it's a lot more difficult to keep doing that because you're going to feel that conflict. You're going to know that you're lying to yourself. You're going to know you're tricking yourself. Same thing with if you're confronted with a bag of chips or a slice of cake. Does eating this move me towards my goals? And if you know that eating that is going to take you over your calorie limit for the day, you have to admit to yourself, this is preventing me from getting to my goals. So that's one thing. That's a little bit of wisdom right there from someone who's been coaching people for over 6 years. It's a very, very simple strategy. You just need basic information so that you can be aware of your goals and then ask yourself, does this action, does this thought, does this behavior get me closer to my goal or not? But I have been getting a very unique response from a couple different people. And when I tell them that, they say, well, what goals? Does this move me towards my goals? What goals? I don't have goals, Andrew. How do I set goals? How do I figure out what I want out of life? I'm in a strange place right now. Maybe you don't really enjoy your job. Maybe you're not really satisfied with where your life is. Maybe you're just feeling a little depressed, and it happens to all of us. But if you don't know what your goals are, you don't know what motivates you, where do you start? How do you figure that out? Because that's the greater question, right? If you don't feel like you have the motivation to start a fitness journey or to start changing your health or your habits or the way you treat people, where do you find that, right? And that's a tough question, and it's a very, very good question because I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have at one point been in a place where we don't really have clarity. We don't know what we want out of life. I certainly felt that way when I was in college after I quit the military academy. I had no idea what my goals were because my only goal my entire life had been to become an officer in the Army, and losing that felt like I lost part of my identity. And it's not a good place to be, where you don't really know what your goals are. You don't know what motivates you, because it kind of feels like you don't have an identity. So I have a few tips for you guys if you are trying to figure out what your goals are, you're trying to figure out where you want to go with your life, because usually there are some pretty intuitive quick fixes for this. There's a couple ways to open your mind up to some new experiences, some new people, some new ideas, and begin exploring yourself and trying to figure out if there is something deep down in there that is actually trying to tug at you. Maybe you just can't feel it yet. So really, the first thing that needs to be said is goals don't have to be huge. They don't have to be gigantic. When people hear the word goals, they actually usually have a negative association with that word. A better word to use, at least studies show this, a more favorable word to use is project. So if you're intimidated by the word goal because it just seems big and huge and gigantic, tell yourself you want to start a project, right? And the easiest place to start is to just start by making a list. Write down 5 to 10 things that you really, really enjoy doing. So maybe you took a painting class one time and you really, really liked painting, but you just don't have time to do it anymore. Maybe you don't have the supplies. You feel like you're not good enough, or you don't have time to practice. It doesn't really matter what it is. Write down painting. Or maybe you really enjoyed playing baseball in school when you were younger. Write that down too. Anything. 5 to 10 things. Now go through that list and read those things and ask yourself, is there a potential goal buried in here somewhere? Because maybe if you really enjoy painting, maybe you should start again. Maybe you should drive to Walmart right now, buy a couple practice canvases, spend $16 on paint, $5 on a couple brushes, sit down tonight to some good music and paint a picture. Go on YouTube and find a tutorial, paint a landscape or some flowers or something. And if you enjoy it, ask yourself, by next summer, I could probably do an art show. I could do a craft show. I could paint 15 pictures, go set up a little booth, pay $20 to get in. I don't even have to sell anything, but that's a great goal. If that's something you want to pursue, if it's something that brings you joy, if painting is therapeutic to you and it allows you to express your creativity that otherwise your job or your private life wouldn't allow you to, then it's a great thing for you and you should have that. Same thing with if you wrote down baseball, maybe you should start coaching Little League. If you got kids, maybe one of them wants to play baseball. Maybe they already do. Ask if you can be an assistant coach on the Little League team. Just write down a list of things, and I'm sure there's something on there that is actually tugging at you on the inside, because deep down inside you knew if you did more of it, you'd probably be happier. If that doesn't work, and your list is not really pulling at you in any particular way, maybe you can't think of very many things, then I want you to write down a list of things that you don't like. Write down 5 to 10 things that you hate, right? Maybe you don't want to be overweight, right? Maybe you don't like feeling like you don't have any spirituality. Maybe you feel like you don't really understand what the universe is trying to tell you. Maybe you've wanted to explore religions. I don't know. Whatever you don't like about yourself, and then reverse engineer that process, right? So if you wrote down you don't want to be overweight anymore, or you don't want to be tired anymore, ask yourself, how can you change that? The simple answer is you got to lose some weight. And while there is some complicated processes involved with that, it's something that you can do. And you can realize that if you change that, and if you reverse your overweight situation and you become a healthy weight, your life will be improved. You'll feel better. You'll be happier. And that's a very reasonable goal to set. And losing weight is a great goal because you can start small. You can I want to lose 3 pounds this month. That's so easy. It's so easy to do. If you want to do that, message me because I can help you. It's a lot more simple than you think. So, lastly, the last thing I want to say is if the list of things that you love and the list of things that you hate, if none of those still didn't help you, this is what I recommend. A lot of people get stuck in a groove. You might get stuck in a depression because you are living in a cycle. Your life is too cyclical. If you've been living in the same house, in the same town, you see the same 5 people every day, you never go anywhere new, you never do anything different, you work the same 9-to-5 job, you do the same things every day when you get home, and you have the exact same morning routine every morning. Maybe you're groggy and you drink your coffee and you're out the door. If you do everything the exact same way every single day, life might just feel like it's a train passing you by, right? Because it actually turns out a lot of people think that the human brain grows and changes and adapts based on the number of memories you have. And the brain is really, really good at recognizing patterns. If every single day of every single week of every single year is identical, if they're very similar, you're not creating new memories. Your brain is used to that pattern, so it doesn't bother remembering anything. And that's why sometimes it can feel like a month flies by in a day, because maybe you didn't do anything new that month. You didn't have any new experiences. So if you feel like you're stuck in a cycle and you can't figure out or translate what you want, what you enjoy, what you don't like, if none of that's connecting, my number one tip for you people is to go somewhere. You have to break that cycle. Join a new class, right? Go join a support group. Join a new church. Get on a train, go 500 miles that way, and go somewhere you've never been. Pick a destination anywhere on the map. If you have some money set aside, buy a vacation because you need it. You got to get out of that cycle. Meeting new people, doing new experiences, seeing new places, smelling new things, tasting new things, trying new food, all of these things, new music, new experiences are going to stimulate your brain in ways that it's never been stimulated. And that's a great way to get out there and just explore the color palette that life has to offer. There's so many different experiences out there. There are so many things that you've never done, right? I use this analogy a lot, but pretend that your singular experience is this bookshelf, right? This bookshelf. That's you. You, your entire life, all your memories, all your experiences, your opinions, your beliefs, everything that is you is on that shelf. Now, the rest of the world is this entire room, right? You know what's on the shelf. You've seen it. You've been living with it your whole life. But you have to recognize how much else is out there. There are so many cities you've never been, so many people you've never talked to, so many stories and songs and poems you've never read or heard or listened to. There's so much. To think that there's nothing out there in the world for you, that there's nothing worth pursuing for you in your particular life, it's just wrong. You got to get out there and see it. You got to taste some new things, see some new sights. Anyways, that's my advice, and I hope that if you are struggling to find motivation, if you're struggling to find a goal, use some of these tools I mentioned. Let me know how it goes. If you're still struggling with trying to figure out what your goals are, what your motivation is, message me, all right? You can leave a comment down below, or if you want to shoot me a private message, do that too. I coach people for a living, okay? I help people find goals, I help them stay on track, and I build plans so that they reach their goals. I'm more than happy to help you. All you have to do is shoot me a message. I'll probably send you a link to one of a couple different personality tests. I might interpret the results with you. I'm here to help, right? That's all I'm trying to say. So anyways, I wish you the best of luck on your journey towards accomplishing your goals. I'm Coach Andrew, and I'm always here, guys. Have a good night.